Good morning and hello, everyone. Jose J. Garcia, real estate investor, coach, and mentor with a very special guest today. Very special all around because this is our first podcast in, I think, almost a little bit over a year. But with me, I got Mark Weinman. Now, what makes him special and on here is he's an entrepreneur. You're going to hear it. He's a coach. He's a mentor. He's going to be coaching some of y'all in the near future as well. So definitely stay towards the end so you can hear more of what's upcoming. But Mark's been to our shadow events. Mark, you attended 2, 3 events of ours, didn't you?
Yeah, three, maybe even four.
Yeah, live
Yeah.
events, and of course, has been there through our coaching. But even more important, he's implemented, and that's what you know. We've had many students, what I call them students, that attend and join, and they'll brag about, I've been to 7 of your events, 7 events, but no deals. It doesn't work that way. Deals on wheels only works if you implement, take action, what you learn. But I want Mark to share his story here with us and tell us about how he got started in the mobile home industry. For many of you who already follow us or are new to following us, pay attention to Mark's story. I think it's definitely one of those life changers. So, Mark, take the floors. Tell us about Mark.
Hey, man, good to be back. Started out, grew up here in Georgia, metro Atlanta area. Had a background in construction. My dad kind of dabbled a little bit in some investment stuff. So I was familiar with the fix and flip stuff. So I learned kind of the skill and trade from early on. Went to college, did all that stuff, got involved after college, fell into the commercial printing business and did that for a number of years, but had always continued to, look for something different. I'm not a good stock guy. I'm not a big investment portfolio type of guy. Somebody told me a long time ago that, if you want to make money while you go to bed, you want to cash checks in your sleep. That's the secret sauce. So, you want to gravitate to what you're good for and what you know, right? What you're comfortable with. So, went through COVID and all that. And I figured, well, I got to try to do something different now. And what's something that everybody needs? Well, everybody needs a roof over their head. Everybody's got to eat and everybody's got to, get something to drink and you got to have something to drive. So, obviously the most important one is everybody needs a place, needs a roof over their head. So, started looking around, did a lot of information on the fix and flip type stuff with traditional real estate and just realized pretty quickly, you look back over history, 2008 and the market crash that went on there and all the loan stuff. It's just, there's a lot of moving parts to a conventional real estate type investment that I just wasn't super comfortable with. So I thought, well, what's something else I could do? Not too much longer after that, I started, just dabbling around, kicking ideas and came across the mobile home thing kind of by accident. They're affordable. You don't have to go through all the, real estate brokerage type stuff. You don't have to go through the closing attorneys. You don't have to do any of that kind of stuff.
Simple.
Yeah, simple, right? So, literally, you can do transactions, at a McDonald's, sitting down, bill of sale, title, you do your due diligence, you know what to work with. The learning curve is a lot more user-friendly. It's a lot easier to engage. And most importantly, it's limited liability for me. That was the biggest thing. I thought, well, scorched earth here. I don't plan to fail, but I got to have a plan in case, something goes sideways out of my control. And limiting that exposure to mobile homes just started making a lot of sense. It was multifaceted. Not only can you do the, traditional fix and flip like you would with conventional real estate, you've also got options, which I learned from you. Hey, I can owner finance this thing. I can rent it. I can do short-term leasing. Heck, if you even get in the right area, you could even do Airbnb with it. There's just huge amounts of flexibility with it. And it started checking a lot of boxes, Jay. And, kind of by, I don't know, by fate or by happenstance or whatever, my grandparents growing up, when my grandparents retired, they bought a few mobile homes. We're from Michigan, and they had a couple of them up in a community near Lake Michigan. And then they also had a couple down in Orlando. So they would kind of snowbird back and forth. And my grandparents saw it as a way to pay for their retirement. So I never really paid attention to that business side of it when I was a kid, but I had the exposure to it. And my grandfather, like me, was a Mr. Fix-It type. So he would go in there and make repairs and do things, and I'd help him and just learned along the way. So it just it became a very natural thing to me. But that's not a barrier for somebody else getting into it. With what I learned through my regular business, through the commercial printing stuff, was, you have the traditional employees, then you got to worry about, the taxes and all that kind of stuff, and the workman's comp, and just go down the list, right? All the things you don't want to do. And the beautiful thing about the mobile home, kind of integrating that with the fix and flip stuff, is no matter where you're at, you can always find somebody that's going to paint. You can always find somebody that's going to drywall. You can always find somebody to do floors, plumbing, electrical. That stuff is everywhere. And if you know what to do and how to handle those relationships profitably, you really don't even have to lift a hammer if you don't want to. So that's the beauty of this. You can get as involved in the renovation process as you want, or as little as you want. So I saw this and still continue to see this and plan for this as being my mailbox money for a long, long time. So I'm building a good combination of fix and flip for cash sale, owner finance, and I do have a few rentals in the right places. And it gives me, pays for the house payment, pays for the car payments. It makes life a lot easier when you do that. And like I said, everybody's got to have somewhere to live. And in case you haven't checked around apartment prices lately, they are sky high.
Yeah.
And
well, we made a video on that, and those are great points you're pointing out. There is simple, easy, quick, and has options. I mean, I spoke to a investor yesterday who wants to get into this industry as well, and he kept saying it almost seems too easy. I hate to say that it is, but it is. And as with anything that you do over and over, you get better. Now,
right.
Mark has well over 20 units, 20 mobile homes in less than 2 years. So you've definitely taken that challenge and scaled it to. And talking about different options, that's how you really scale. It's not being one trick pony. All I do is wholesale. I hear that often. Or all I do is flips. You got to be able to diversify, because you can have so many options, and you sleep at night. There's a check coming around on the first of the month.
Right.
And you start scaling and growing that. But walk us through your first deal that you did.
First deal, first one's the hardest, right? And finding it it wasn't the actual process of it. It was making the conscious decision that, hey, this is what I'm going to do. I'm committed to it. Had a budget in mind, and I did all this. I did all the things. I did the signs. I did driving for dollars, knock and talks with park managers, did all that kind of stuff. So it was actually a referral. I went and talked to a park manager, and then got in touch with the park owner. And I said, hey, here's who I am, very upfront. Here's what I want to do. And he says, look, I don't have anything right now, but he goes, I know a guy. So he gave me this guy's phone number, and it was out of Calhoun. And he said, hey, look, this guy inherited this park, and he's going to cut the park in half, sell half of it off to a commercial developer, and then they're going to go ahead and pull the old homes out, and they're going to put new ones in. And he's just going to do it as a park-owned home, small community of about 20 units. So he had about 5. And my first deal was actually 3. So I did three right off the bat. So through a relationship I made through you, I found a park owner that was willing to move them in for me. So I went and bought 3. And I think I spent a combined total of $10,000 on all 3 of them. And moved them in. I know that's kind of, jumping in on the deep end, but I actually bought 3 for what I budgeted for my first one. So I worked out a deal to where I was able to get in. We were able to jump in and get them done. Turned all 3 of them in about 45 to 60 days, I think, right off the bat. Sold the first 2 before I had even really finished. By putting a sign in the window and having people drive by. And then the third one I decided to keep as a rental, and I'm already on my second tenant in that one. So my first deal was actually 3. So that's a little non-conventional, but it just kind of worked out.
If we
One of
may
them,
ask, what did you make on those 2 that you sold?
I made on the first 2, I probably made 21,000 on the first one. I put about 7,000 in it, I think, altogether. And then the second one, actually, the second one, I sold it before I even finished the remodel. I didn't even have the floors in yet, and the guy wanted to finish it, so I made 15 grand on that one, and he finished the remodel. So that was pretty sweet. But we had it probably 80% of the way.
And that's common, for those of
Yeah,
you listening, is there is people that'll come in and say, hey, I'll finish the job if you maybe give me a little discount or less of, which to you could be beneficial. So y'all do the numbers at home. Mark went after his first deal, got 3 instead, and then which bought him for 10,000. The park owner moved them, so there's no expenses on the transportation. Typically, it's anywhere from 5 to 6K per home to bring them in, set them up, strap them, this sort of thing. So you can see where all these numbers scale up to. But you also started from many levels up. So, where we coach is like start with your first deal, maybe wholesale, then do one to rehab to flip or keep as a rental. Then you can go on to maybe start moving them. You jump in, you get 3 of them at once, you move them. So
yeah,
you hit the floor running. But
yeah.
and that's taking charge and going after it. Most people are not going to do that. It's not going to happen. Why do you think people are as skeptical as they are when it comes to mobile homes from your view?
It's probably like most anything, Jay. It's probably just fear of the unknown. The hardest thing is just being committed to it, honestly committed. It's like a workout regimen or a diet change or a job, or no matter what it is, you've got to be all in. So you have to decide that your plan A is your plan A, and your plan B is I don't have a plan B. I got a plan A. I'm going to do this. And like I said, the if you're coached right, if you do enough research and you go at it the proper way, it's, in my opinion, and what was so appealing to me was just it limits your liability so much. I mean, look, you do all the right things. You get insurance on the property, on the mobile home as soon as you start. So if there's an accident or a theft or whatever happens, act of God, you're covered. You stick to your budget, you follow your plans, you do the right things. There's so many different ways that you can spin it. And like going back to my first deal on that third one, I make probably $850 a month just after park rent off of that one. It's a great rental market. The comps in the area for the apartments are pretty high. So when people can come in and get a 2-bedroom, 2-bath mobile home that's been, it's perfect on the inside, nice, clean, new appliances, new shower, new commodes, everything, new flooring, mini split systems in there for HVAC. They're saving $200 to $300 versus going to an apartment, and you don't have somebody stomping on your ceiling or banging on the floor or listening to every conversation. You can have a grill on your porch, and it's very comfortable. It's a nice little community. So that's just it. It's doing the research, being prepared, like anything else in life, and making the decision to go for it with the proper education. That's really the key to success.
Learn and implement. So, and you mentioned a minute ago, I want to talk about your specialty. I think you have, and it's the need for affordability housing is there. It is never going to go away. I tell people when they ask me, where do you see mobile homes in a year, 5 years? Is like I see a mobile home like a mobile home. The end result is that you're fixing an issue by providing affordability housing. Do I see affordable housing need in a year, 5 years, 10 years? Yeah, probably more than ever. So therefore, the affordable housing is always going to be a need. But you mentioned earlier, you can go anywhere, find a painter, find a guy that does sheetrock. You can find a whole team in the mobile home park wherever you're investing.
Sure.
You can just go knocking door to door. Do you know any painters? And they'll say, "Oh, Bob over there paints," or Billy down. You can put a team easily, and that's kind of what also helped you is that you had a background in real estate, which is a little different, but you had that already knowledge there. So transitioning into mobile homes and now doing all that you do, that's one of the biggest issues that investors have sometimes getting into is they don't know how much parts cost. They don't know about the whole rehab. They don't know all these details. And unfortunately, if a contractor can con you, he's going to do it every time. So having that knowledge is huge. But tell us about some of this you have. And I mean, we've gotten material from you, flooring, vinyl. So you
Right.
obviously have connections.
Yeah, no, it's all about making connections. The longer you're in it, the more research you do, the more people you talk to. You're right. You never know what's going to lead. That's the interesting thing. And what I love probably most about the mobile home communities are it's really its own kind of ecosystem, if you will. There is somebody, I mean, cut your grass. I mean, drive around, look for work vans. I mean, they're usually pretty tight knit communities. Everybody knows what's going on. And,
Yep.
I've gotten actually, one of the guys that does most of our replumbing work and stuff like that is a guy that I met that was kind of the local park handyman that had tried and failed at the kind of, he's an older guy, bought one, got in over his head. I actually bought it from him, paid him to come help us fix a few of the issues on it, and then flipped a profit on it. So a really nice profit. So it was a good deal for everybody. I made a friend, and I got a really solid guy that knows his stuff and likes to crawl underneath mobile homes and all that kind of thing. But it's just, you're constantly building your portfolio. You're constantly upping your game. And go back to our relationship, through my adventures and stuff, I found a really good source for flooring, and turns out I can pass that savings on and help, other investors and things like that. So one hand's washing the other, and the more people you branch out to, the larger you cast that net, and the bigger you build that network, the easier things become, and the better deals you find. You never know when dropping off that card, shaking that hand, making that phone call is going to be a contact for you that's going to, really help you. So that's probably the biggest thing in all this is just the relationship aspect of it. That's been huge.
Very well said. Every contact can be a contract where you should push for that because it will come. And sometimes it takes time. I've dropped cards off before, and 6 months later, hey, are you still buying mobile homes? Yeah, yep. I forgot I dropped the cards there, but by all means, I'm glad they keep them. So, sure. What would you say? Because you're saving on material, you know what's going on. You're not easily being taken advantage by any contractor trying to spike up the prices for you. What would you say is your biggest win to date?
My biggest win to date, profit made, or we talking about connections made as a win? Because
those are always wins.
Yeah,
those are always wins to make the right connections.
My biggest win as a connection is I have 7 park owner that has been fantastic to work for, and then second place to that and flips in one community. The park owner and I actually become pretty good friends, and he's backed me financially to go in and do my first mobile home on land that we just finished. Okay. So that was a huge win. But as far as profit wise goes, I bought one for $3,500. I put 17 in and sold it for 67.
Wow. There you go.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're not all like that, right? But sure. We're happy to get those, special gifts when you get a chance. So you just never know. There's it's interesting when you get talking to people, you can find that. I know it sounds a little bit cheesy, but you're really you're really doing a service to these communities. Mm-hmm. You're helping people get into affordable, safe, clean, nice places to live. I always say, my motto is if I don't want to sleep there, I don't think my wife would want to sleep there, then I need to do a little bit better job. And that doesn't mean that I have to spend a lot of money. It's just that I have to know the proper things to do to make it a nice, safe home. I mean, when you've got families moving in with kids, or elderly people, you like to make sure that, you're doing the right thing for them. And in turn, the park owners and the community managers see what you're doing, and people pay attention. When you're making home improvements, it kind of as a rub off effect, keeping up with the Joneses a little bit. So maybe then they encourage other people to do some things and upgrade it, and it just starts snowballing up to where, they give you more opportunities. Hey, I like what you did in my community with this home. I've got one or two more I'd like you to take a look at. Or, hey, Mrs. Jones down here is being put in an assisted living home, and the daughter is distraught because she doesn't know what to do. She lives in another state and she doesn't want to deal with this. Would you mind making a phone call? And a lot of times I've had that happen twice, to where I wasn't even looking, and I had somebody come knock on the door while we were in there working. And they're like, hey, my mom's not doing well, and can you help us out? And you go through it and you make them an offer, and hey, everybody's happy. It solves a big problem for the family. It gives you another investment opportunity and allows you to keep on rolling. So, boots on the ground is very important, and in having a presence. And that doesn't mean, like I said, that you got to be in there swinging a hammer. As long as you're visible and you're talking to people and you're making those relationships and being very open and honest and doing a good job about what you're doing, you'd be surprised what these community owners, especially some of the more independent non-corporate owners, are able to do with you.
Yeah, and I would add to that is, for those of you investing or getting ready to invest in mobile homes, it's like that. I think that's a huge thing to keep in mind. It's, and I hear it, unfortunately, with some new investors want to come in, as they're talking about the money they're going to make on this, the deals, they're going to multiply this. It's like, think about the end result first. Think about the people, the families you can help, because when you put that right mindset out there, it's like you're going to get paid. That's going to happen. But it shouldn't be so much about how much money will I make as much as how many families can I help. So, shift it in mindset. And we are coming to an end on our podcast here. We can talk to Mark all day long. We're just getting started. Right. We wanted to bring Mark on here because we are starting back some of the coaching programs. He himself is going to be doing some coaching. You can hear the passion in him. So for any of you who does get coaching through him, you're in great hands. That's going to happen. Stay tuned for a lot of the updates that are coming. Potentially a live event. We'll have him there walking us through some of his homes, maybe talking about the material, the expenses, the labors, all the little critique things that are really important in mobile home investing. But before we go, Mark, what is one thing you can tell to anybody out there on the sideline watching your video, getting motivated, but haven't gotten started yet?
It's all about, look, obviously, if you're interested and motivated, you've probably already got to the point to where they're following you and they're wanting more. The biggest step and the best piece of information I can give you is find a mentor, find a coach. Mm-hmm. People like to say, when in Rome, find a Rome. No, when in Rome, hire a Roman. Find somebody who's been there, who can help take their experience and their guidance, and trust it in that, and create a plan, and then do the research back on it yourself afterwards, so that you're comfortable with it. But it's like everything else. You don't make it to the Olympics without a coach. That's key. Yeah. And yes, even though I did have a little bit more background than most people, and felt a little more comfortable with it, I never would have probably done that had I not run across your content and speaking to you and a few other people in there to really kind of make it make sense for me. If that it, and it's a reinforcement. And the biggest thing is that you want to give yourself every opportunity to get started on the right foot, and understand what potential pitfalls there are. And it's just one of those things. If you know the major things that you're looking out for and all that, it pays off in spades down line. I mean, it's a little bit of investment up front, and getting some education and doing those things. It just really helps avoid a lot of things that, unfortunately, if you don't go through the process, diligently, can sting. And we don't want that. I mean, it's just, this is a great opportunity. And I think with the current state of the economy and everything growing, and the current state of housing, I just don't see a better opportunity now or in the near future than mobile homes right now. I think mobile home communities are probably the biggest slept on thing right now in the investment community.
Yeah. Very well said. Yeah, and that's, I'll add to that before we go. It's learn as much as you can. Don't dive in on something you've never seen. I mean, you have to have some type of education, some type of knowledge. Follow some of our videos here. Search mobile investing. But at the end of the day, you're never going to be 100% ready. There's no such thing. And the real teacher is going to be that first deal that you take on, because you're going to learn. I didn't read this back in that book. It wasn't in the book. These are things that you learn as you go. But Mark said it, the first deal is always the hardest. It is. And the second one gets easier. Third gets easier. Fourth one, you're in the loop. You know what's going on. Something new comes up, but you know how to handle. So it's all that taking action, and just once you learn X amount, take action. So, Mark,
Absolutely.
it is awesome having you on here,
Yeah,
connecting with
brother.
you again. We're going to do big things.
Yeah,
As we
looking forward to it.
So I'm looking forward to that. But
Yeah,
thank you for coming on my podcast today.
absolutely. Yeah, I got to run. We got one we're finishing up on right now. So
Okay.
we're still in the game.
We'll do your thing. We'll connect with you again later.
All right, man. Sounds good. I appreciate it. Had
See you.
fun.